Look who pulled up for a catch-up. It's Really here from 947 Afternoons. And if you're here, it means you've got taste. Go ahead, enjoy the moment you missed. But don't ghost me. Weekdays, 12 to 3 p.m. on 947. I'm loud and way more fun in real time. And yeah, there's more audio magic waiting for you right here on Prime Media Plus. 947 Drive with Thando.
So I have been fixated with Artemis 2 until since I found out that they're heading to the moon.
You are the most obsessed person I know when it comes to this lunar adventure that you're doing.
They did a live stream yesterday on Netflix. I don't know if you saw.
No, I didn't see it at all.
At 7 p.m. last night.
Okay.
1 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
And I watched. It wasn't as interesting as I had hoped it would be. But they are, of course, on their way back home. It's a 4-day journey, having traveled further from Earth than any humans before. I'm fascinated by this because it's just like, what are the margins of like a new record being set, right?
I think it's 4,000, is it 4,000 Ks further?
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, my thing is, right, obviously 1969 was the moon landing. And then one...
Or was it?
Well, no, stop it. And one may argue what's better, orbiting like around the moon or landing on the moon. I also know that I think it took them something about like 3 days in 1969. It took us a little bit longer in 2026. You'd imagine that with, technology getting better, that we should like all be like hanging out on the moon by now.
I mean, it should take you a day at this point.
Well, look, joining us on the line is the Acting Executive Director of Space Operations at South African National Space Agency, Tian Strydom. Hello, Tian. Thank you so much for your time.
Good afternoon.
At the core, what is the primary mission of Artemis 2?
Well, the Artemis program is about returning humans to the moon. This time not basically to just explore the moon and go there once, but basically to see if the moon is an environment where we can actually establish life. So that's one of the primary reasons why Artemis is so important at this stage.
So, Tian, why didn't they land this time? Right, because we could land so many years ago. Why couldn't there be a moon landing this time?
Well, first of all, technology has advanced significantly since the old Apollo program. There's so much more nowadays. We have better robotics. AI has taken over the world. And international partnership. In those days it was basically the US basically trying to win the moon race. Where nowadays it's more collaborative and there's more technology that makes it safer for humans to return to the moon.
Okay, but Tian, that brings up the question, which I guess a lot of conspiracy theorists, I find myself sometimes dabbling in that, the idea of whether or not we ever landed. Why have we not gone back to land?
Yeah, why didn't they land
moon?
even this time?
Well, it's because it's so difficult to land on the moon. Those days, like I said, it was a space race. Everybody was just trying to prove a point, and I don't want to say people disregarded safety, but it was basically to prove a point. Nowadays, human life is valuable, and they need to make sure that when they actually land on the moon, you will actually see that Artemis 3 was planned for the moon landing. They actually postponed it to Artemis 4 now. That's actually the landing that they planned, but it's just to make sure that it's a safe environment and that we can send humans there, bring them back safely, and we can do it on a recurring basis.
But I mean, why weren't we, I don't know if I'm asking the same question, but so if we established in 1969, we were able to do a moon landing, however many years, decades later.
With all the new technology.
With all the new technology that you've just mentioned, Tian, I'm sure a lot of people around the world are wondering, yes, we are now traveling further from the Earth than ever before, but why aren't we then able to land once again? And what are some of the risks that, we took into consideration then and maybe have tried to mitigate over the last couple of decades?
Well, one of the major risks that they try to mitigate at this stage is radiation. As you know, the moment you go out of the Earth's environment, human beings are protected by our ozone and so forth. The moment you go out of that, radiation is very, very high. So that's one of the things that they actually testing on Artemis at this stage, to see how they can make sure that landing on the moon and even to make it a permanent environment to live in is safer. When in the past, if you talk to some of those astronauts those days, they were really exposed to terrible environments.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing. The value for human life is just so important at this stage.
And then lastly, Tian, did the South African National Space Agency play a role in supporting this particular mission?
Yes, we do, and we still do. So basically, the National Space Agency is responsible for communications to the actual module. So on a constant basis, after launch, we are in daily contact, bringing down telemetry and commands, communicating with the capsule as it flies out and around the moon.
And when are we sending someone to the moon, Tian?
Hopefully very soon.
Yeah.
Mark Shuttleworth.
Unfortunately, our budget is not as big as the US, but hopefully one day.
I know Thando said last one, but just out of 10, Tian, and I know you're a science guy, you're a space guy, I'm still not convinced. The fact that the biggest problem is radiation. Buzz Aldrin is now 96 years old. He's lived a full life. Out of 10, how confident are you
that
we actually landed on the moon the first time?
Honestly, Tian.
Honestly, Tian.
I can give you a 10 there because just to give you a little bit of history about the South African National Space Agency, although we were not a space agency in those days, this specific site just north of Johannesburg in Hartbeespoort that's supporting the Artemis mission has also been involved in the Apollo and Mercury program and has been supporting the original moon landing as well. So it's longer than 50 years that we're in the business and we supported both missions. So, we're quite proud of that to say that, yes, we did support the initial moon landing.
Tian, that's a fantastic answer. Thank you so much for your time. That's Tian Strydom, Acting Executive Director of Space Operations at the South African National Space Agency.
What I got there is that we never went to the moon.
No, we didn't land.
No
That thing
one's
didn't
ever
happen.
been
No,
to the moon. Come on.
947 Drive with Thando.